Welcome to the Cory Lee Show, where our focus is on building leaders and transforming culture. My name is Cory Lee, and in each episode, I aspire to ignite something on the inside of you that encourages you to grow yourself and to make an impact on the world around you. Welcome to the Cory Lee Show. Welcome back to the Cory Lee Show. Hey guys, we are still in our series on champions, the attributes, the lifestyle, and the choice. And we've really been talking about the latest book that's come out on that, champions, and how to truly be a champion in life, not just in the workplace, not just on the field, but how do you truly be a man or a woman who's bigger on the inside than on the outside. Men and women who are good at what they do things with excellence, but great at who they are, that inner game. And so been going through that. You can check out, I think this is, episode 3 in this series of being a champion. And we're just going through my book. And if you want a physical copy of the book, you can do that. You can go to Amazon, or you can go to my website, CoryLeeLeadership.com/champion. And in fact, you can actually type in a discount code for 10% off on my website. And that code is THANKS, THANKS, plural, right there. That'll give you 10% off on my website. And so anyway, I truly feel like the message in the book is a timely message. I feel like it's something that needs to get out today. And so one of the ways you can help me do that is buy you a copy, buy a copy for a friend or family, or really an athlete, maybe somebody who's in FCA, really good for high school, college athletes who really just want to grow in their faith as well, grow in core values, those kind of things. And so would love for you to help me to get that out. We were actually working on the Audible version, so it should be out on Audible coming up soon. And so today we're jumping into today's episode where we're talking about champions. You know what? There's a price to be paid with being a champion, and champions are willing to pay the price. And that's what we're talking about today. Champions are also passionate. And I want to read you a quote by Pastor Philip Brooks. He said, "Sad will be the day for every man when he becomes absolutely contented with the life that he is living, with the thoughts that he is thinking, with the deeds that he is doing, when there is not forever beating at the doors of his soul some great desire to do something larger, which he knows that he was meant and made to do because he's a child of God." Oh, so can somebody in the back say amen? There we go, right? Like, people of passion, they stand out, right? And many people get caught up in their wake. Others will choose to criticize because, you know what? Passionate people, they are offensive to the passive. That's the reality. The reality is passionate people put things in motion, and it stirs others to action. The burning fire on the inside of them becomes contagious, and it sparks a flame of action in others. Champions are passionate, and passionate people elevate those around them to heights that they had never even considered before. See, champions, as a champion, you got to catch fire. You got to catch fire to make an impact. Weak desires will always bring weak results. Several years ago, I was out walking around in our neighborhood, and I was praying, and I began to ask the Lord, like, why are we still living here? Why are we still living in Tupelo, Mississippi? We had been living in Tupelo for 11 years, and I was wondering about the purpose for which me and my family were here. And as I was praying, he stopped me in my tracks when he said something to me, but it really shifted my perspective. He said, why are we still here is the wrong question. A better question is, what can we do here? Wow, think about that. Then he said, oh, by the way, so you can't make a difference if there's indifference in your heart. How about that? See, champions cannot make a difference if there's indifference in their hearts. Apathy and indifference lead to inaction and ineffectiveness, and it should never be mentioned among your attributes. When champions are indifferent, nothing provokes them to the point that they will go all in to make something happen. They become satisfied with the status quo and business as usual. See, you are a champion. My friend, you are a champion. You are called to leave a mark and to move your generation forward. Do not allow yourself to become apathetic. Do not allow yourself to be indifferent or selfish to the point that you come in and go out of this world and leave it unchanged. Place your thumbprint on the hearts of those in this generation, prepared this generation to take the baton and run in their own generation. Prepare them in such a way that when the baton is passed to them, they are fully equipped to run further, run faster, to build higher, to build bigger, and to build better. Champions are passionate. Champions also pay the price. Jimmy Johnson, he said, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary, hey, it's just a little extra. It's just a little extra. When my wife and I, we had first, a few years ago, we had opened up our first business, physical therapy clinic. Man, we didn't know anything about business. We didn't know anything about leadership and leading other people. However, we did know how to make other people feel good, feel welcomed, and feel valued. And because of this, our business began to grow. It began to grow pretty rapidly. And it got to a point where we needed to hire someone. And I'll be honest with you, for me, this was this was probably one of the scariest, the most nerve-wracking moments in our business up until that point, because I realized that as the leader, that the decisions I made, now they didn't just affect me and my family, now they affected somebody else's family. And I had to grow. John Maxwell calls this the law of the lid, that if you lead anybody, if you lead anything, if you lead a large organization, if you lead a small team, if you lead a Sunday school class, if you lead a community group, whatever it is, as the leader, you are the lid on that group. Your team, your group will never surpass your ability to lead. And so let's say if on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 5-level leader, then my team will never surpass a level 5. They will always be a 4, 3, 2, or 1 because I am the lid. But if I grow, if I raise my lid, then the potential of my team goes up as well. And so I realized this. I realized I needed to grow. I needed to get better. And so I began to read and to listen to as many books as I can or could. And one thought leader that I really liked is one of my favorites. You've probably, if you've listened to any of the podcasts, you've heard me quote him many times. His name is Jim Rohn. I like me some Jim Rohn. This man had a very unique philosophy on life and leadership. And I was really drawn to his simple yet profound explanations of complex concepts, right? Like he says things like, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skill. Don't wish for less challenges, wish for more wisdom. But I think one of my favorite insights from him was his formula for success and his formula for failure. He said, the formula to success is just a few simple disciplines practiced daily. Check it out. The formula for failure is just a few tiny errors in judgment repeated every day. How about that? Think about that for a moment. Like, success and failure are rarely overnight things. Like, rarely is it one giant leap, one giant fall. Success and failure are typically the result of consistent actions and thoughts repeated over time. No one goes to sleep and then wake up the next morning and then unintentionally and all of a sudden become a success. Success is a few simple disciplines performed day in and day out. Day in and day out. Yeah, I call it the most boring key to success. It's consistency. Discipline and consistency are the two most boring keys to success. But all pass, y'all. Every single one of them requires consistency. Most people, if you're listening, most people are not successful in their businesses or their roles or their organizations, not because they lack talent. It's not because they lack support, but rather because they don't understand that in order to be successful, you got to be consistent. See, champions pay the price of discipline. Consistency. Anybody can be good once, but the champion, it's a way of life because they fall in love with the process. See, if you plan to live like a champion, you got to fall in love with the process. The majority of people, they want to hold up the trophy and say, man, I did it. Look what I did. And they want to imagine all the benefits of being a champion. But they don't really like to pay the price of going through the process. But it's in the process that you become bigger on the inside than on the outside. Even so, the challenge of the process is that no one celebrates the work that goes unseen, right? Like they don't hand out trophies or blue ribbons or pat you on the back during the process. There isn't anyone celebrating you or cheering you on as you grind through the mundane, but every path to victory comes about through this route. Joe Frazier, he said it like this. He said, champions aren't made in the ring. They just merely recognize there. That thought, that quote, it really speaks to the work that's done in the dark that prepares one for the spotlight. It's the process. One of my favorite proverbs, it's Proverbs 20:21. It says, an inheritance gained quickly at the beginning, it will not be blessed in the end. The author of this proverb, King Solomon, what he's saying is that if we receive something of great value before we're ready to receive it, then it will ultimately be lost. See, the thing on the outside is bigger than we are on the inside. But we want to be men and women who are bigger on the inside than on the outside. It comes down to a decision of character. See, skills and ability, they can get you an invitation into the room. They can create opportunities, but it's character. Character is what keeps you there and keeps the invitations coming. See, paying the price is the decision to be bigger inwardly than outwardly. What's interesting, though, about having good character is that the majority of individuals can seem to have good character as long as things are going their way. As long as things are going good, right? But what about when things shift and people begin to get squeezed? When you squeeze a lemon, you're going to get some lemon juice. When you squeeze an orange, what you going to get? You're going to get some orange juice, right? When a piece of fruit gets squeezed, what's on the inside will come out. When people get squeezed, their true character, good or bad, that's what's revealed. Hey guys, I hope you are enjoying this episode of the Cory Lee Show. Y'all, I am on a mission to build leaders and to transform culture. So if you're looking for a speaker who speaks directly to the heart, a mentor to come alongside you and your team, or if you're in a position where you're looking for a personal coach who embraces where you are and also believes in who you could become, then I would be honored to walk this path with you. Simply reach out to me on my email at Cory@CoryLeeLeadership.com. Look, let's make your vision a reality. Contact me and together we'll navigate the path from aspiration to achievement. Your transformation, it starts now. I recently heard an interesting story about a minister who found his reputation on the receiving end of some negative pressure, right? So more specifically, this individual was being publicly criticized by another local pastor. And the local newspaper, they caught wind of the gossip and thought they had something that, and they wanted to just fan the flames a little bit, So they went to the criticized pastor and they went and asked him what he thought of the other pastor. You see what they're doing, right? They trying to stir something up. But without missing a beat, this guy, he began to say how intelligent this other pastor was, how creative he was, how caring he was towards the flock that he led in his community. And the reporter, was kind of put off. The reporter responded with something to the effect of, but that's not how it sounds like he thinks about you. And the pastor said, yeah, that's true. But you asked me what I thought about him, not what he thinks about me. Come on. See, how do you handle pressure? How do you handle the criticisms and the critiques? How do you respond when others take advantage of you? We say in sports that an athlete who stays composed under high pressure has ice in their veins, right? They got ice in their veins. The pressure does not rattle them. But being a champion invites the critics. Those who want something for nothing and those who just like to see champions be knocked off. See, targets of this nature are not placed on the backs of losers. They're not placed on the backs of critics, but rather on the backs of winners. How someone responds in the situation defines whether they are typically a winner or truly a champion. So let me ask you, how do you respond when things don't go your way? How do you respond when the accolades begin to come your way? See, I believe character is revealed in the moments of despair and in the moments of glory. Champions experience both, which serves as a dual force that drives growth and resilience. Our oldest son, he is, all three of them really, but our oldest son, he's the one that really kicked it off for us. He's passionate about soccer, and since probably since he was about 3 years old. And my wife and I, we were athletes, but I mean, we didn't know anything about soccer. So we were starting from scratch. And so to support him and to help him improve, we had a lot to learn ourselves about the game. And it was a steep learning curve for us, but it was definitely worth the intentional time and effort to see him grow as a player. And as a 7th grader, he made the varsity soccer team for the high school team. And it was really something that I really am proud of for. And early upon his joining the team, we were receiving heavy praise from the coaches and his teammates about his abilities. They were talking about how good he was. And obviously this made him feel good, right? And as a parent, it made me feel good. But over time, a couple of his teammates began to give him a little hard time, right? He's the youngest one on the team, a little small guy like me. And I could tell that he was beginning to get discouraged. And the ridicule was beginning to get to him. So we had a bit of a conversation about the importance of holding those two things in tension, right? Like the highs of being a champion and the lows of being a champion. Because he is a champion. He needed to know that he would experience more of each of those moments. I needed him to see that the current disappointment and discouragement were only glimpses, not the full picture. And I had to remind him of all the things that were said about him and all the moments of success that he had experienced up until that time. And see, I let him know that in the valley moments, it's important to remind ourselves of the victories so that we, so that we can pull ourselves out of that discouragement. But also during the peaks, this is important as well. It's also important to reflect on some of the losses so that it keeps us humble and hungry. See, for the champion, the mountain moments act as a beacon of validation. It boosts our confidence and it reinforces the effectiveness of our training and our dedication. Y'all, it's the tangible reward for hard work and sacrifice and really overcoming past failures. It offers a sense of achievement and motivation to aim higher. It's the reward of an effort put in. But on that opposite end, those valleys, they serve as powerful teachers. They show gaps that need to be closed. It forges mental toughness and it refines strategies and skills. The valleys help us to value those winning moments and seasons. Many, they only want the mountaintops. But if we only experience the good, we can easily become complacent in our growth. And then we don't honor the process of the reward like we should. I think the true champion needs both. And honestly, you're going to experience them both anyway. How we respond to the mountains and the valleys says a lot about who we are, and it reveals what is really going on underneath the surface. And I just think as we consider these truths, let these words of C.S. Lewis kind of just settle in with you. He says, hardships often prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destiny. Woo, let me say that one more again. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. See, this statement, it reminds us that the path of a champion is not defined by a lack of challenges, but rather by how those challenges are the very making of an extraordinary journey. It is the crucible of hardship that the true character of a champion is forged and their destiny shaped. Many want the prize, but they don't want to pay the process. They don't want to pay that price of the process. Champions, they pay the price by doing the small things well. Another thing Jim Rohn says is we all must suffer from one of two pain points, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is that discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs a ton. I like this quote, and this quote really gets right to the point and captures the idea that while being disciplined requires effort and can be challenging, it is far less burdensome than the lasting and often heavier pain of regret that comes from not having done the small things well. See, how we do anything is really how we do everything. And I think many people have this attitude of, I'll wait until, right? I'll wait until I get the ideal job before I put in my effort. I'll wait until I have my own business before I take full responsibility. I'll wait until I get enough money for myself before I start helping others. I'll wait until my career gets stabilized before I, spend focused time with my friends and family. But I want to suggest to you that I will wait until is not a strategy for success. John Rockefeller said, I never would have been able to tithe the first $1 million if I never had tithed on the first salary, which is $1.50. right? See, we pay the price of developing the habits of a champion long before becoming a champion. We do it while we are still in the process of developing. We act and carry ourselves the way that a champion does in our current moment, here and now, long before the title has ever been received. Champions may become crowned champion or recognized publicly as a champion in an instant and in a moment. But it's the journey to becoming a champion begins with the decision. It's the decision to cut ties with being average, cut being good, and cut compromise, and deciding to do everything you do with excellence, to do the small things in a great way. See, a champion becomes a champion within themselves the hours, the months, the years before anyone else even takes notice. Jesus said, he who is faithful in a very little thing is also faithful in much. And he who is dishonest in a very little thing is also dishonest in much. The way in which Jesus worded this declaration is very interesting. He says that the person who has proven that they can be honorable and trustworthy with something less significant, that they've actually proven that they can be trusted with something more significant, even though they have not been given responsibility for what is significant yet. Their ability to carry themselves as a champion with the small proves that they have the character to handle the responsibility. Meanwhile, on that flip side, the one who is unfaithful with the small proves by their lack of honor that they aren't ready for what is significant. Champions pay the price. You, my friend, are a champion. Pay the price of disciplined effort over time. Know the season or the practice, know that the season or the practice of discipline is not wasted time. Though you may not see the fruit immediately, be confident that the outcome is sure to come. If you want to hold up the trophy and say, man, I did it, I just want to encourage you, fall in love with the process. Pay the price of the process. And so, hey, that's part of my book, Champions, the attributes, the lifestyle, the choice. As we talked about, champions pay the price. And again, you can get that on Amazon. You can get it on my website, CoryLeeLeadership.com/champion. I also have it in the show notes below. But I really just want to encourage you that many times we want to skip the process, right? We want to microwave it. And in this Instagram instant oatmeal world, we want to microwave it, but it really comes through in a crock pot. It's a slow crock pot. And really it's in that crock pot or in the process that we become men and women who can stand under the weight of responsibility that comes. And so I truly want to encourage you, just dive into the process and fall in love with the process. And so I hope today has added value to you. If it has, I would love to hear from you. I would truly love to hear maybe some things that have stood out to you, maybe something that you've been thinking on, maybe something that stood out to you. I'd love to hear that. And so make sure you like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with the latest episodes of the Cory Lee Show. And I would love it if you would just give this a review. That way it kind of helps us bump up in the, the algorithms and stuff like that. But that would truly help. And also share it with a friend or family member so we can encourage them as well. So appreciate you guys. I hope you have an awesome day and God bless. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thanks for joining me today. I hope I have added value to you. And if you have found value in this episode, let me know. Drop a comment and make sure you share with a friend or family member. See you next episode.